This is a true story that happened several years back when I was 13. This was a time when I was growing up in New York. We actually had a summer house on Cape Cod and spent every other weekend there, if we could. Cape Cod is a peninsula off the east coast of Massachusetts. It becomes very busy, even crowded, during summertime, but during the winter season it becomes empty. The majority of houses in our area are known as summer houses, so during winter, the houses are still there, but the people are not. In contrast to New York, there are only street lamps on the single main road in this town. The main road goes from the town center to the beach. Aside from this road, all the others are dark and very black at night. Also, Cape Cod extends out into the Atlantic from the mainland, forming a bay, Cape Cod Bay. Not only can one watch the sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean, but can watch the sunset over Cape Cod Bay on any given clear day. Another effect of being surrounded by ocean is that there is very little man-made light at night. The stars are so clear that the Milky Way is clearly visible, spanning across the sky on clear nights. This story happened during the vacation period between Christmas and the New Year. The Christmas celebrations were finished. There was plenty of leftover turkey and pumpkin pie. We got a bit of cabin fever with all the Christmas food and family on one evening. My older sister, who is 7 years older than I, 20 at the time, came up with an idea to take a walk to the harbor, which was about a 20-minute walk from our house. The harbor can be fun because we can walk out onto the docks and walk along the boats. While I was a bit creeped out to walk around in a deserted beach town on a cold winter night, I also thought it would be fun to get out of the house and maybe even be exciting. We headed out. Across the street from our classic Cape Cod cottage is a field with a forest at the other end. At nighttime, I would also have a little fear that there could be a psycho watching from the tall grass. Perhaps he would have an axe, but while it kept my nerves wary, I knew it was my imagination. But still, icy wind blowing on tall grass is a perfect setting for some horrors. Add this to a moonless sky and a million sparkling stars and the Milky Way above, and the horror setting is at a level Stephen King. We walked out to the main road, went a bit down the road, and turned to walk down a side street that leads to the street that dips downhill towards the harbor. The side street runs along the backside of a long hotel. It's more like a 2-level motel, painted light yellow, that has a pool. It is well situated in town, so can be full of life during the summer. On this December's Eve, the hotel was closed for the season, completely dark, and several windows are covered with plywood for protection. My sister mentioned that a hotel that spans an entire block but is partially boarded reminds her of a horror movie, like one of the slasher films where the characters make all the wrong decisions and walk into the worst dark places just to find their worst nightmares come true. At the end of the street, we continue to the left, which is a long road downhill through the woods to the harbor. This isn't a pure forest because the houses are set back from the road with an occasional driveway. Many of the driveways have reflectors on a rock or a fence or just standing on a metal stick. These reflectors reflect back the headlights from cars. I mention this because we could not see any of them or anything. It was pitch black in the wooded area, and the road seemed to continue into the black. Come to think of it, we had not seen a single car or a single person or a single sign of life since we left our house. My nerves were on edge. I was only 13 at the time, and although my nerves were screaming, I tried to stay calm because I wanted to seem tough to my sister. The woods alongside the road were particularly nerve-wracking, and the trees come right up to the asphalt on each side of the road. They provide many opportunities to hide someone or something, and the houses beyond the woods were dark. Because rarely did vacationers come here in the winter, I started to notice that my sister was also starting to lose her nerves, and that's when I felt it. I felt a flush of energy move up from the back of my neck. It makes me feel like all the hairs are sticking out on end. This is a feeling I get when I'm being watched, and it's hard to describe this feeling, but I still get it today, sometimes when someone is looking at me from behind. It's either some kind of sixth sense, or it's just my imagination working, or maybe some intuition. We were now midway into the wooded area. I was starting to lose my crap, and just about to stop pretending not to be freaking out and tell my sister let's go back. when she suggested it. She said, "It is late. Maybe we don't have to go all the way to the harbor?" And I replied back, "Yeah, plus it's kind of creepy and dark down there." And the back of my neck was shivering, and I felt my body shudder as it wrestled between acting relaxed and flipping the switch to fight or flight mode. My sister replied, "Yeah, very creepy. Come on, let's go back to the house. We can see the harbor tomorrow." We turned around and she grabbed my hand, and we started walking fast back up the hill. I remember she held my hand so tight it hurt. My sister never holds my hand. I can't think of another time she did this. And this is weird, the story takes a deep dive into the rabbit hole. As we got towards the end of the wooded area, my sister screamed out, "I've got a knife and I'm not afraid to use it." And she did not lose any rhythm of her fast walk while saying this. We crossed the street now and headed on up the street to the back side of the closed 2-level motel. My sister continues to speed walk and looks back. She let out a little panic noise and looked back again, and then commanded me, "Don't look back." I was utterly freaking out at this point. Aside from the eerie vibe of the dark, empty street and my own inner panic, I had not actually seen anything out of the ordinary, with the exception of my sister's completely insane behavior. She said, "When I say run, you run, okay?" Okay. We were almost to the main road, a block out from our street, and she said, "Run!" And we booked it. She let go of my hand and we both broke out into the best sprint we could do. I could hear our footsteps banging the asphalt and could hear several other steps banging in the distance. We cut around the grass area to a shortcut towards our street and ran through the front yards of our neighbors' houses to make a beeline for the front door of our house. We made it. We both ran inside and locked the storm door, which is mostly glass. I was panicking, but not sure if there was anything or if we were just going crazy. It was a strange transition from being outside, which was terrifying, to inside the warm, lit house, which seemed safe. I was questioning what happened in my mind. I could sense that my sister was also questioning herself, whether there was any threat or if we were both just losing our minds out there. I asked my sister what she saw. She said there was a man that was standing at the edge of one of the driveways. We walked right by him on the way back. She said that when we were behind the hotel, he crossed the street and was following us. She said he was looking right at us, and although we were walking very fast, he was gaining on us. She explained that it didn't make sense that a man would be standing out there in the dark, wooded area. Honestly, I really don't understand what happened that night. I'm not sure how much of what my sister said is true, and if she was seeing things or not. One thing is for sure, I realized that I prefer walking to that harbor during the daylight.